So credit cards can be some powerful tools where you can have a credit card for every single little perk under the sun. But what if you didn't want to manage so many credit cards and want to slim down to just a few? What about an ultimate 5-card setup that covers 5 big areas of spend while making sure you're getting rewarded well for that spend? For each of these categories, we'll go over the main recommendations as well as 1 or 2 alternatives that fulfill the same purpose. And so starting with the first category is probably most people's favorite, especially if you're a foodie like I am, and that's on the food category. Whether you like to grab groceries and cook at home, or you like to find the best restaurants wherever you go, having a card that will give you a good return on all of that spend is crucial. And by far the best card in this category would have to be the American Express Gold Card. I mean, almost everything about this card has to do with food in one way or another. Yes, it is a mid-tier card in terms of pricing, coming in at $250 in annual fees, but there are 2 major credits to help you offset that cost. If you have places like Shake Shack, Milk Bar, or the Cheesecake Factory around you, then you can apply the $10 a month credit, so $120 a year, towards these places, as well as companies like Grubhub, Goldbelly, and Wine.com. Fortunately, there are a couple of these places within walking distance of me, so I can probably fit in a meal every month and then walk back home to burn off those calories. Next up, which is arguably one of the best perks of this card, is getting $10 a month or $120 a year for Uber Cash, which you could use towards Uber and Uber Eats. For those of you who may not have a car or love to eat, then this credit should be very straightforward to use. You can even use it towards Lime scooters or jump bikes to help you get around town locally for a lot cheaper. And as for ordering food, one way to get around the massive fees is to just order online and we'll pick it up, especially if there's no major markups on the price already. You'll also want to look out for any discount codes you can apply that can sometimes reduce your price by 30 to 40% on the order, which will make it really worth it. So between the 2 credits, if you're able to use them, that can bring your annual fee down from $250 to an effective $10, which is a really low price to pay for a card of this caliber. Because for most people, this is a daily driver card given the spending categories it will give you elevated points on, spanning 4 times points on restaurants worldwide with takeout and delivery in the US, 4 times on US supermarkets up to $25K a year, and 3 times on flights through the airline or through their portal, with 1 times on all else. Now, I won't go into detail on how you can maximize Amex points, you can check out the video up there, but for example, on the low end, you can redeem your points for cashback at 0.6 cents per point or upwards of 2 cents per point through transferring to travel partners, meaning for the 4 times categories, it's a return of 2.4% on the low end to upwards of 8% or more in value on the high end. Tack on the amazing welcome bonus of 60,000 points after 4K in spend in the first 6 months to offers as high as 90,000 points, that can already be worth hundreds if not over $1,000 of value on that bonus alone. But let's say all that is not enough to justify that annual fee. There is an alternative that will cost you exactly $0 a year to keep open while still giving you a great return for very similar categories. Enter the Capital One Saver One card. With its amazing rewards on the spend, giving you 3% cashback on dining and groceries, as well as entertainment and popular streaming services, this card is much more straightforward to use, especially if you're only focusing on the cashback portions. That said, it does come with a lower welcome bonus of $200, but also a much lower limit to hit of $500 over the first 3 months. So a lower bonus, but lower spend. But what I love about this card, and the reason why I'm tempted to get the card just for this perk, is getting the complimentary Uber benefit. In fact, it goes hand in hand with the Uber benefit from the Amex Gold, because on the Saver One, you're getting 10% back for Uber and Uber Eats spend, but also getting Uber One membership throughout late 2024. So technically, you could get this card for the Uber One membership, then spend your Amex credits to save on fees like the delivery fees. But in general, having an amazing card that will give you a few percent back on all your food purchases is pretty amazing and helps you justify your food spend just a little bit more. Now, the next card in the setup is one that can adapt to different categories categories during different times, while giving you a lot of value for those categories. And that would be on the Chase Freedom Flex card. Probably one of the most popular cards out there for beginners and experts alike. This card's biggest perk is getting 5 times back in rotating categories, up to $1,500 a quarter, with categories this year including grocery stores, Target, Amazon, and Lowe's. Those points can then be converted 1 cent to 1 point back to cashback, so your original 5% cashback. Or if you have a Sapphire card, combine and then redeem your points through other means like the Amex ecosystem for usually upwards of 2 cents per point. One thing to note is that Chase cards have a lot of overlapping categories across their cards, like the 5 times on travel through their portal, 3 times on dining, and 3 times on drugstores, which is the exact same as on the Freedom Unlimited, for example. Also, this card comes with a similar welcome bonus compared to the Saver one at $200 back after $500 of spend in the first 3 months, but depending on when you're watching this video, you could still be getting the 5% back in grocery store spend in the first year, which could make this card your grocery store card of choice for the first year, covering part of the first category. So really the focus of this card is spend on those 5 times categories to get some amazing value, as well as giving you cell phone protection against damage or theft, which is more of a rare perk on credit cards. But maybe you're over the 524 rule, or you just hate Chase for some reason. Then an alternative that you want to consider would be the Citi Custom Cash card, a card that is newer than the Freedom Flex and really tackles it head on. Because unlike having to activate your 5 times rotating categories on the Freedom Flex, the Citi Custom Cash will give you 5 times up to $500 a month, so the same cap every quarter, in the single category of your choice, which can change every month, so more flexible. And with driving being such a big part of most people's lives, I think the standout category here is spend at gas stations. So one method to maximize value on this card is to get it and only spend at gas stations, because all other spend outside of that 5% category, you're only going to get 1% back. The welcome bonus is also slightly worse, giving you the same amount, but for $1,500 to spend in the first 6 months. But the custom cash does belong to the Citi Thank You ecosystem, meaning you can transfer points to cards like the Citi Premier and redeem points for outsized value through that card. So we got your food covered and we have your flex category covered. Now you want a card that will cover your travel category. Whether you're traveling locally like with buses and trains, or you're going further through flying, this card should give you a good return for all of that spend, but also give you the opportunity to redeem those rewards against different types of travel for outsized value. And by outsized value, I mean instead of getting 2 times points for 2% cashback, so 1 cent per point, you'd redeem those points for maybe 2 cents, 5 cents, or even 10 cents per point. And the card of choice here would be the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. Having had this card for over 5.5 years, it's still the travel card I recommend for most people, especially if they're just getting into credit cards. And that's because it has a relatively low annual fee of $95, while still giving you a glimpse into different travel benefits and travel cards and why they're so powerful. And that starts with a welcome bonus of 60,000 points after $4,000 of spend in the first 3 months. Meaning if you were to redeem this welcome bonus for a straight cashback, that's still $600 in value, which is more than 6 times the annual fee. Plus, being able to product change this card to no annual fee ones like the Freedom card makes it a really low risk way to try the card out. Then remember how Chase points across some of their cards can be combined? Well, the goal is to earn Chase points on different cards wherever it gives you most value, combine them all to a card like a Sapphire card, then redeem them in one of 2 ways for outsized value, meaning more than 1 cent per point where you'll get for direct cashback. One is to redeem these points for travel through their Chase portal. At least domestically, I've noticed from searching that a lot of these flights have consistent pricing across the Chase portal and Google Flights or even Expedia. So being able to get a 25% boost on your points value, so 1.25 cents per point in value, is a nice little bump. But my redemption of choice here would be transferring my points to one of Chase's travel partners. Check out the video above for in-depth redemptions, but for example, you can get 2 to 4 cents per point when you're booking Hyatt hotels, through to some amazing flights like domestically flying flying American booked through Avios, or business class flying ANA booked through Virgin. And this card can be a really great daily spender too, with its non-overlapping categories compared to the Freedom cards, including 2 times on overall travel, 3 times on online groceries, and 3 times on select streaming services, while also giving you $50 a year to use towards hotel purchases booked through the portal, further reducing the annual fee if you use the credit. Tack on partner benefits valued at a couple $100, primary car rental insurance, and some solid travel and purchase coverages, and you have an awesome well-rounded card that's a great entry into the travel credit card ecosystem. And I say entry because a lot of the alternatives for great travel cards have a much higher annual fee, but also a much higher value. For example, the older sibling to the preferred card is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Still in the Chase ecosystem, this card also gives you the ability to transfer points to partners, but will give you a higher 50% boost when using points through their portal. Meaning if that's your primary use of points, then the higher $550 annual fee could be justified. But not even that, immediately with the card, you'll get a $300 easy to use travel credit every single year to help offset that cost, bringing the effective annual fee down to just $250. Add on higher multiples for spend, like 3 times on overall travel and 10 times on Chase dining, priority pass perks, partner benefits, and best-in-class level of travel and shopping protections. You gotta love that $500 per item return protection that really makes online shopping a lot easier. Then there's my favorite card of recent time, which not only can fill in the gap of a travel card, but in my opinion is also a great catch-all card. And that's of course with the Capital One Venture X card, filling the 4th category in this 5-card setup. Right off the bat, the $395 annual fee could be kind of scary, but every year you'll be getting $100 worth of miles and $300 travel credit that will be more than enough to offset the fee every year, as long as those credits stay. And as long as you travel at least once or twice a year and book through the Capital One portal that offers perks like price protection, price drop, and beating Expedia and other sites in hotel prices, these should be relatively easy to use up. Although one caution, having too many cards can be kind of hard to manage, especially when it comes to all the different credits across all of your cards. Personally, I think around 5 cards is a good number, and I usually use my credits from highest value to lowest value to make sure that I'm getting most out of my cards at least. That's why I almost never get to the $50 credit on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is technically leaving money on the table. Similar to the Chase ecosystem, Capital One also has their own network of travel partners, though I say their list is not as great as Chase, but still has some standout ones like Aeroplan and Virgin Red. That said, so the annual fee is already more than covered by the travel credit and the annual miles. But the reason why I treat this card as a catch-all card is because of its 2 times miles on all of my spend with no spending cap. And because Capital One points can be redeemed for travel purchases, not just the ones through the portal at 1 cent per point, it's pretty good value, treating it like getting 2% back towards travel. Because in that way, this card can cover 2 categories, with its 2 times on miles being the catch-all category, as well as travel with perks like lounge access through Priority Pass and Plaza Premium, and their own upcoming network of lounges, top-tier Hertz status, rental car coverage, cell phone protection, and a bunch of your typical travel and shopping protections. And as with any card, top it all off with a welcome bonus of 75,000 points after an initial $4,000 to spend in the first 3 months, and you have a very solid travel and catch-all card. As for alternatives, if you really don't travel much or you just want a very simple card, then you have to check out the Citi Double Cash card, which honestly doesn't have much going for it except it has no annual fees. It'll give you 2% back on all of your spend, no matter how much or where, and earning that in Citi Thank You points, which can be combined with other cards in the ecosystem like the Citi Premier. Or if you're on Team Chase, consider the Chase Freedom Unlimited card, which will give you 1.5 times back on all of your spend, which is lower but does come with a significant welcome bonus, as well as being able to combine points with Sapphire cards that can give you boosts of 25 or 50% in value. Alright, so we got your food, flex, travel, and catch-all category. The next card you want is one that will cover your unique category, meaning use this card to cover a category that you spend a lot on but may not get great value from your other cards. For example, maybe you got the Freedom Flex for the flex category, so then you get the custom cash and only use it on gas stations to get 5% back there. The one card that should probably be on everyone's radar is one that covers the highest household expense for Americans, and that's with the Bilt MasterCard. You've probably seen this card everywhere by now, but the big selling point about it is earning points through rent with no transaction fees. In my area, that's $2,000 a month. So 2,000 points or 24,000 points every year, all on this no annual fee card. There's also some decent multipliers on travel and dining, as well as getting double points on the first of every month. I don't know, maybe that means you're booking your fancy meals or booking your travels on a very specific day every month. No, it's not direct cashback, or else that's pretty insane, but you're able to apply these rewards towards future rent or down payment, as well as transferring to some amazing partners like Aeroplan and World of Hyatt programs. You'll also have access to Points.me to help you maximize all of those points. Or maybe you have a ton of spend on Amazon. Then you might want to consider the Amazon Prime Rewards card, giving you 5% back on Amazon and Whole Foods. Or consider an airline or hotel card if you fly a lot or stay a lot with a specific brand, in order to unlock benefits like elite statuses or upgrades. There are so many unique cards out there, but you gotta make sure you have your bases covered before extending out and getting even more cards. And so go on and check out this video where I break down my entire strategy for maximum value this year. See you over there.